Thanks so much for tuning back into another fire-filled, packed with lots of nuggets episode here on Gems Podcast. My special guest with me today is Magic Barclay, and you already know me, Miss Genesis Amaris Kemp. But let me tell you a little bit more about my guest, Magic. Magic has been a single mother of two for the past 10 years. In that time, stress and the roller coaster of life has seen her face her mortality a number of times. A cancer, Lyme disease, stroke, diabetes, heart attack, and hypoxia survivor. Magic has seen how treating root causes of any illness gives you the tools to acquire a level of health you only dreamed possible. Magic is a Mould Toxicity master practitioner, an expert in the PNEI, which is Psycho-Neuro Endo Immunology of trauma, an advanced immune practitioner, and an advanced practitioner in innate immunity and functional health solutions. Magic is also a practitioner of lymphatic mojo and CMLD, which is complex manual lymphatic drainage. Magic is also the author of 4 books and a sought after speaker. Her hobbies include hiking in Australia bush, spending time growing organic food for her family, and wildlife rescue. And she is also the host of A Magic Life, Health, Wealth, and Weight Loss. So without further ado, let's welcome the woman behind it all, Magic Barclay, all the way from Australia.
Hi, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. And wow, Magic, you've been through a lot, and I'm sure some of the listeners are probably like, wow. And here she is, continuing to keep on going like the Energizer Bunny.
That's exactly it. I am the Energizer Bunny. And I don't think that was possible till I discovered functional health and what really my body could do. And I think that's what was missing when I was part of mainstream medicine. I just didn't know how amazing the human body is.
And it's amazing the work that you're doing that not only helped you, but helped others. But before we dive in, I definitely want the audience to be able to connect with you on a personal level. So we're going to have a little bit of an icebreaker and brain teaser. So here are the options. We could break the ice up front, or we could play a rapid fire 10-question game. What are you in the mood for?
Oh, I think rapid fire sounds fun.
Okay, it's rapid. So you got to be quick on your toes. You ready?
I'll try.
Do 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 do. We're playing rapid fire with Magic Barclay and Genesis. Question number 1. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Invisibility.
Number 2. Are you a coffee, tea, smoothie, or neither?
Tea.
Number 3. If you could go anywhere in the world, money was no option, and you just found out that they're not flying back to your home base for some time, where are you heading?
Oh, definitely deep into the Aussie outback.
4. Dream car or dream house?
Dream house, and it would be on about 130 acres with a dam, lots of bush and lots of animals.
5. You just won the lottery and you have 3 charities to donate to. What charities are you contributing to?
Well, it would be anything to protect animals. There would be probably an autism charity in there because both my kids are on the spectrum, and something that encourages people to grow their own food.
6. What's your favorite food?
My favorite food, believe it or not, is cauliflower. I just love it.
So do you like it any way, or do you have to have it prepared a specific way?
I love it roasted with a little bit of paprika on it. It's just the best thing.
7. If you could go back and recreate any significant moment in your life, what would it be?
Sounds a bit negative, but I wouldn't get married. Unfortunately, I had something in my head that told me to have babies, you have to be married. Love my babies. My partner and I should never have been together though. So I just wouldn't get married.
Wow, that's a different one. But I respect it for whatever reason that's behind it. We won't open Pandora's box right now, though.
No, let's not.
8. If you could be a fly on the wall and eavesdrop in any conversation, past or present, whose conversation are you listening to?
I would love to listen to a conversation between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost.
Who are those?
They're both former Formula One drivers that drove for McLaren.
Ooh, okay. Now you got me percolated because I like Need for Speed.
Well, Alain Prost is the professor, and Ayrton Senna, of course, we all know he was amazing. And they had a rivalry, so I would love to have heard one of their private conversations.
9. Who is your idol or someone that you would love to sit down with in the holistic space?
Probably Joe Dispenza.
Okay. And 10. This is our pass or play question, and here are the rules. If you pass, our roles are reversed, and you ask me a question. If you play, I ask you one last question. So here we go. Do you want to pass or play?
I'll play.
Okie dokie. Let's. Final question. If you could have lunch or dinner with any person, maybe dead or alive, who would it be?
That's a hard one. I've been watching a show about Julia Child recently, so I would love to have lunch with her.
Amazing. And thank you so much for playing Rapid Fire with Genesis. Now let's segue into holistic natural health. And I want you to break down your meaning of holistic natural health, because sometimes when people see the holistic part, they're like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm connecting my body and soul, but then they forget the natural aspects of it.
Totally. So we are evolved organisms. Unfortunately, humans think that they're a bit special. We're evolved, but we've devolved ourselves by being reliant on synthetic medications, synthetic foods, synthetic everything. Basically, we want it faster, quicker, cheaper, and, to heck with the consequences. So holistic is, and there's a W in front of that, by the way, because it's treating using holism. The whole body communicates. Every system of the body chats to another system. They all have a flow-on effect. You cannot treat in isolation. Mainstream medicine treats using reductionism. So I treat using holism, being holistic. The natural part, we need to use the earth. So every medication that mainstream medicine uses today has a natural source. So let's talk about one of them, shall we? There's a medication.
So hold on, before we dive in there, because you said
Sure.
every medicine has a natural source, and I just wanted to reiterate that so people are aware of that. And I am partially holistic, partially Western medicine when needed. And I feel like we need to understand what we're putting inside of our body and how our body reacts to what we have just put inside of it. And we do that by listening to our body. So I really wanted to interject that point there, Magic, before you continue. So go ahead.
Totally. So with everything going on in the world at the moment, I'm not going to mention names of things, but there is a medication that has been made out to be the bad guy, even though it's proven to treat something that's going around at the moment. Now, this medication actually is synthetic. So whilst it does work, it's synthetic, and like any other medication, has side effects. But this medication actually comes from a natural source, and the natural source is the bark of a tree. So why are we outlawing a medication that works? Why are we not talking about the natural source? And this is the problem with mainstream medicine. Many medications become dollar signs to them, when what they should be doing is, oh, you're low in minerals. Can you go in the morning, stand in the sun, the early morning sun, barefoot on the dirt and soak up minerals through your feet? No, we're going to give you some pills that are minerals. Oh, you're vitamin deficient. Well, can you go and eat some fresh foods, lots of different colors in them? No, maybe take a multivitamin. So this is kind of where medications have stepped away from the natural pathway. So for everything that we want to achieve, there is a natural source. So that's what I do teaching my clients is, what is the natural source? If you can't sleep, you're low on melatonin. Melatonin is made by the gut bacteria that you have, and they're good bacteria. Not all bacteria are bad guys, but they're activated in the early morning sun. So when you get up and the sun is rising, go for a half-hour walk. The gut bacteria will activate, they'll make melatonin, and you'll sleep well that night. So I don't send people out for sleeping pills. I don't send them out to take melatonin. What I do send them out to do is walk barefoot in the morning as the sun rises. So there's just a couple of examples of what natural health actually is. Now, when you put it together with holism, you are looking at what you're eating, you are looking at what you're taking or doing, you're looking at what you're thinking, and you're really looking at, I guess, the whole spectrum of physical, emotional, and spiritual health.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that you are recommending and registering that they connect back to nature and go back to the source, which is understanding the root causes of the problems that they're facing and knowing that there is a way that their body can heal itself with the help of the right natural remedies and cures. So you mentioned the tree bark, and I wanted to ask you to break that down a little bit. Whenever you think about the tree bark, is there a specific tree in general?
There is. And for the example that I use, I actually can't say it at the moment. So let's go to another one. Everyone knows aspirin. Okay, aspirin for headaches. We know aspirin is a blood thinner as well, but aspirin comes from a tree and it's called white willow bark. It's the bark of the white willow tree. And what it's done is, when you dry it and you grind it and you take it, that is a natural aspirin. So why would you be popping an aspirin that comes from a foil packet that has a use by date on it that you don't know how many people have handled, whether the processing manufacturing was clean, when you could get white willow bark, certified organic, of course, and you can ask your health food store who processed this, how many people worked there, you know, was it contaminated? Was it used on a machine with something else? And it's doing exactly the same thing, but with zero side effects.
Okay. So that's very profound because I had no idea of the white willow bark. Do you use sea moss?
I don't use CMOS at the moment. I have been looking into it. There's just such a vast array of things. And this is, I guess, gets me to the next point. All my clients come to me with different conditions, so they don't get the same treatment. Every treatment is different because what person A and person B are dealing with is different. Now, there are different immune types as well. So this also factors in. There's actually 5 immune types. Some are infection fighting, some are nurturing, and there's actually one that we need to jump into for pregnancy. There's another which is neutral, which is where we kind of need to sit most of the time. There's another one that is displayed by delayed onset allergies and skin irritations. And of course, we have our innate immune system, which is the one that we're born with. That's our first line of defense. It's all our barriers, our skin, our gut, our brain, that is the guy that needs to find something within the first 3 days and shoot it down. So depending on which immune type you're working with, also depends on what you should be taking, what you should be eating, what you should be doing. And like I said, 2 people could come in with the same thing, but there might be different immune types.
Yeah, because it's not a one-stop shop that fits all. And I know in the holistic realm, some of the other practitioners and specialists that I've talked to before, they are introducing cannabis because cannabis has a lot of health effects and properties for different people, whether it's epilepsy, cancer, or etc. So, what are your viewpoints from the holistic standpoint and you working with some of your clients?
Certainly CBD oil is part of my mainstay of treatment. And the reason cannabis is so good is it's a neutral immune driver. So remember I said that we need to sometimes sit in neutral? Well, cannabis doesn't put us in any particular direction. It's neutral. So by using cannabis for pain relief, by using it to stay in a neutral immune state, we can actually see more easily where the next step is. And I've used CBD oil for pain relief. I've used it to help me get to sleep when I'm really stressed out. And look, it does work. But again, you need to make sure you've got a clean source. I certainly don't suggest smoking cannabis. I'm not, one of these people that thinks any kind of smoking is okay. You want to do it, that's up to you. It's not for me. And I'm certainly not going to suggest it. But the oil itself can be very, very helpful.
Even the slab, because I know when I was doing acupuncture, the physician who was African descent, she used a CBD slab after she took the needles out. So the needles sat in. It was all down my back. I had a few in my head and some in my wrist. And then she put the slab on and let that sit for 5 to 10 minutes. And oh my gosh, like when that 10 minutes was up, it did not feel like 10 minutes had passed because I felt so much relief, not just having the acupuncture, but also having that. And I think there's just so many medicinal properties that can be used, but you have to do what's best for your body. And one thing was she did not sell the slab to patients, so it was the highest form and grade from a physician standpoint. And I at first I was a little skeptical about doing it because I was like, oh my gosh, I have this corporate job, but it's just going to be in my system. And she assured me it wouldn't, but I did not have the back pain for a while. And when I tell you it was the best thing since sliced bread, it really was, because after being involved in a car accident, sometimes things just don't go back to place, even though you go through the therapy and the chiropractor visits and etc. Unless you start doing yoga and really get your core muscles very strong. So, also, whenever we're doing like holistic stuff, it's so important that we really mitigate that nutrition and exercise, because sometimes people think that they could do all these natural supplementations, herbs, and different remedies, but then they fail to really have a proper and balanced diet as well as getting that fitness. So, what are your takes on that, Magic?
Definitely, you cannot supplement your way out of a bad diet. You just can't. It's as simple as that. You need to put the fuel in. And on my own podcast, I recently had someone say, you are a Maserati. And I thought about that. And she said to me, now, if someone gave you a Maserati or a Ferrari or any of these, high speed, sexy, expensive cars, would you leave it sitting in the rain, letting the birds do their business on it from the trees, never taking it out for a spin, never servicing it? Heck no, you wouldn't. You've got millions of dollars of car sitting there. First of all, it wouldn't be in your driveway, it would be garaged. You would be polishing that thing till the paint nearly came off. You would be taking it for a spin, making sure that, you heard something, you felt something, it's completely serviced and you are looking after it. So if you're going to do that for a car, why don't you do that for yourself? Now, when we're eating food, we need it to fuel our bodies. We need it for the nutrition. We need it for the enjoyment and the excitement and the wonder and the pleasure that food can be. But if we're eating junk food, that joy, that wonder, that excitement lasts for a millisecond. And then we feel hungry, or we feel thirsty, or we feel depressed. It's because of the chemicals in that food. Now, are we getting fuel from junk food? No. So what happens? We take a supplement or a pill to give us some fuel, to give us that energy boost. When what we could have done is eaten a bowl of watermelon, gotten the electrolytes, gone for a walk, boosted our own energy, come back, had maybe a chicken salad or, something that's exciting and tasty, or for me, roasted cauliflower. And, we're fueling our bodies, we're putting nutrition in. Now, when you're eating a poor diet, as you said, some people think, I'm just going to take a pill. I'll take my vitamins, I'll take my minerals, I'll do this, I'll do that. You cannot supplement your way out of a bad diet or a bad lifestyle. The same thing goes if you dislike yourself. Now, if you're always saying negative things about yourself, no amount of antidepressants are going to change the state in your brain, the neurological state, because you've got this internal talk going the whole time about what a horrible person you think you are. And so that is where a lot of these depressive thoughts come. That's where a lot of anxiety can come. And again, you can't medicate your way out of that situation.
Those are all valid points. And when you said watermelon, I was like, ooh, yes, that would be so good right now. It's a nice hot day over here where I am. And then also that self-talk. So I like to tell my clients that I work with in the visionary spaces, look yourself in the mirror and spend some time doing that mirror work. Start reciting your positive affirmations and your gratitudes out loud while standing there with your hands on your hip in a power pose. And then as you start to say the incredible things about yourself, pay attention to how your body starts to react and how you are put at ease. And then that is a way for you to reprogram your internal software and drive. And I said,
Totally.
we all have our phones, right? And our phone will pop up every now and then, software update needed. So just like you have to update the software on your phone and the software on your PC, we have to update the software in our internal drive so we can operate and be at an optimal level. And that's a part of holistic, because we need to make sure that our mind is firing on proper cylinders. Our mind is conditioning our body, and our body is helping with our spirit, and it all works together in alignment. And then whenever you move it over into the chakras, you want to pay attention to the different chakras in your body and really be intentional about that, so you could really tap into your full energy and your highest level of vibration. And that's not the woo woo, but it's really that total alignment.
And something I teach my clients about chakras, whether you believe them or not, chakras and the body will tell you where the problem is. So something I get my clients to do is just sit in a nice quiet place, close your eyes down, and imagine from your feet all the way up to the top of your head that you're scanning like an MRI, and you're scanning the vibration right through your body. And if you're not quite sure where something started, a pain or a thought, or some disconnection, talking of chakras, that scan will actually show you. And it might take a few times for it to work for you, but it's just something that we as humans have devolved out of. And that is knowing where something is, when it's wrong, when it needs help. And certainly when we were cavemen, there were no doctors to tell the people in the cave what was wrong. They did this scanning technique and they were like, oh, my knee hurts, but there's nothing wrong with my knee. I think I bumped my hip on the rock exiting out the cave. So they knew by doing this scanning, and it's just something that's just so easy that you can do at any time.
And another thing, I wonder if you use this magic. Do you use essential oils?
I sure do. In fact, I have some right next to me all the time. I diffuse essential oils in every room of my house. Now, I have one child that has a condition called narcolepsy. So he can fall asleep at any time. It gets day and night mixed up, even at the age of 23. So what I do for him is in his computer room during the day, I diffuse peppermint oil, keeps him awake, keeps him on a very high vibration. In the evening, before he goes to bed, he's got a diffuser there, and I put lavender oil in there and vetiver oil. Now that helps him calm down. It helps him relax. I then rub some on the soles of his feet, and he can actually sleep at night. So I use that for him. Now, as I said, all through the house there's diffusers. If we're cooking something that's not particularly great smelling the day after, we don't go and spray anything. We put the diffuser on, and we'll use something that will clear the air, like a Clarify blend or a Purify blend, and that will take those cooking smells out, but in a safe way. Now, we also ingest our oils here. So we use, I'm going to say it, doTERRA oils. They are safe, most of them, for ingestion. And so we have essential oils in our water every day. I use essential oils in our cooking. So when I can't get fresh herbs, I'll use the oil of the herbs, and it'll give, the pasta I'm making or whatever, just that extra bit of zing, that extra flavor. Now, I mentioned about doing something for free to get something for your health. And I mentioned the early morning sun. The other thing that I do is I love the Australian bush. So I will go walking in a bush, and I will take my kids, particularly just after it rains. Why? Because the trees are emitting those essential oils. So rather than having to use my little bottle, if the trees are giving off those oils, that's exactly what I'm going to do first. So there's a number of ways that we can use essential oils. And the great thing about essential oils is they're antimicrobial. So some are more antiviral, some are more antibacterial, some are more antifungal, some are even antiparasitic, but they're all antimicrobial. They're intracellular, they get into the cells, and they can actually cross the blood-brain barrier. And nothing else is so microscopic that it can do that. So I love essential oils.
Yeah, they work amazing. doTERRA is a really great brand, and when I was doing it, I was using Young Essentials. Young
Young
Living.
Living. They're
Yes, Young
fantastic
Living.
as well, yeah. But
But
they are the only two brands that I would say rely on. And I have people say, oh, I went down to the corner store, to the discount store, and I got essential oils. That's synthetic rubbish. Only doTERRA or Young Living. There are other brands popping up now. I haven't had time to research them, but these guys have been around forever and a day, and I trust them. So if I'm going to use them on my family, I'm certainly going to suggest them to my clients.
And your feet, people fail to realize that your feet is connected to all of your vital organs. So whenever you rub the different oils on your feet, or if you do pressure on your feet, you can definitely heal some of the things that are going on in your organs. And reflexology is also a naturopathic remedy that can definitely help with different ailments that you may be facing. And wow, Magic, the time has really flown by
It
fast. So
has.
let's jump into our call to action part of the segment. And I want you to leave the listeners with your call to action once they heard and hear, because we never know if they're listening past or later on. What do you want them to do? Like, whether it's a challenge that you want them to be mindful of, following you on social media, getting engaged in your community, and etc. Because the whole mission is to bring educational topics, inspiration, and motivation.
Totally. So we publish a couple of times a week on our Facebook page, and we give lots of people some valuable information. So that is on facebook.com/Holistic Natural Health Australia. That's holistic with a W. We're also on Instagram, so Holistic Natural Health with the W. And our website is holisticnaturalhealth.com.au. Now, there, all our information is there, our blog's there, our podcast is there. We're really about giving you as much as we can. But we also have a root cause analysis there. So you can jump onto services, book a root cause analysis. That's all free. And what we do is we send you an intake form. We look at what your body's saying, and we will tell you which immune type you are. So remember, I mentioned there are 5, and we will tell you what we think is the root cause of what you're dealing with. So you go away with a whole lot of answers. Whether you want to work with us or not, you at least have some answers. So if you still want to work with your doctor, you can go, hey, I'm this immune type, tell me about it. Don't be surprised if they scratch their head and say, I need to get back to you, but at least you've got that information. So look, we just love giving information. As I said, jump onto those socials. You'll see we recently blogged about salt and how good it is for you. We've blogged about essential oils on there, and just soak up the information and share it with your friends.
And there you have it, listeners and viewers of Gems Podcast. Magic Barclay, all the way from Australia. All of her contact information will be in the show notes. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're on 40 plus platforms. You could also see all things video by checking us out on YouTube and typing in at Gems with Genesis Amaris Kemp. And I want to thank each one of you for tuning in on a consistent basis to support my guests and myself. And because of you, we are now ranked in the top 2.5% globally out of 2.8 million podcasts per www.listennotes.com. And that brings me to the need for sponsorship. So if you would like to become a sponsor to fuel the mission behind the podcast, head on over to genesisamarisKemp.net. Click on that podcast tab and fill out the information so we can work together. Until next time, peace, love, and lots of blessings. Have yourself an amazing day.